Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Everybody who watches his show on a regular basis knows my love of the stretch four.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to Tallahassee.
Mercy if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shally-oo, pretty girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Peep the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets after buckets, baby. You out of town. It's buckets. What it is, homie? It's buckets. Woo! We get buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Buckets. I'm flying solo here. Matt, shout out to Matt. His Fountain Valley basketball team that he is coaching up is rocking it. So he's been quite busy. He also took over their freshman team, and I was supposed to be joined by Melissa, but she is under the weather. Feel better, Melissa. I haven't seen her in forever. My partner in crime generally accompanies me to these things. I haven't seen her in weeks. Anyway, for those of you joining, I'm sure aware, Canes lose 82-71 to Virginia. Gonna get into that a little bit. And yeah, this one, you know, it's hard for things to hurt at this point. This is the 23rd straight P4 loss for the Canes. The numbers are mind-boggling. February 3rd of last year was the last win against a P4 team. That was against Virginia Tech at home. So they are one more loss away from going a whole year without winning a P4 game. This is, you know, the numbers are mind-blowing in terms of performance. Fortunately, I'm not completely by myself because I did, you know, get Cowboys owner Jerry Jones to weigh in on the state of the Canes.
There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes.
And there you go. Very low percentage of this that smiles and glory holes. Anyway, that was his contribution. But no, this is it's a struggle. And this game was winnable, which is kind of frustrating. I mean, this is a situation where the Canes came out well early and kind of gave the game away a little bit. You got to question what the priorities are at this point. I mean, I do not understand any of the lineup choices that were made tonight. We're going to get into that in detail in a bit. This was, you know, again, the Canes are not a good basketball team. That's not breaking news or controversial or anything like that, right? So, you know, as you start looking at, okay, how do they win games? It's going to, first of all, take an opponent that's beatable. It's probably going to have to be at home. They had both those things going today. UVA was also missing key players. And the Canes actually started out well. And then I'll just be blunt about it. You know, I'm not afraid to criticize it. Josh kind of got out in front of me here. This is where the game was lost. Initially, it was lost multiple times, but initially the Canes were up 5 and they went to a 2-center lineup, and not just a 2-center lineup, but a 2-center lineup that then featured Divine Ukachukwu at the guard position. Now, look, I think this show's been a little bit harder on Divine than most, but he is. I mean, these are facts, right? He's an 18% 3-point shooter. So you have him at the point in 2 centers with no range. Like, how are you going to do anything? So a combination of slow defensively and because you can't close with those 2 guys on the court, as well as really no spacing on offense and quickly 2 possessions to blow that lead. And never tied or led again. But then it extended beyond that. A lot of curious decisions. I don't want this to be bagging on Divine because I think he plays hard. I think he does some things well. But for him to go 28 minutes and only score his first basket in the last minute of the game, he was the primary defender on McNeely for much of the game. McNeely, for those that were watching, is the kid who put up 26 points on 6 of 12 shooting from three. I don't understand. It's not that Divine shouldn't play, but how does he get 28 minutes and Jaleel gets 14? Jaleel scored 5 points in 14 minutes. Divine scored 6 in 28. It's not, and this is something we talked about a lot. It feels like Jaleel's being judged differently, but in this game, this is a game where Divine was struggling on both ends of the floor. He made his first basket in the last minute of the game. He got to the line and made 2/3 of his free throws, which is not good. And he was, again, getting roasted on defense. So how he gets 28 minutes, and, I'm sure he does well in practice. And he definitely plays hard. I've never, ever questioned that kid's effort. And that's great to see. But if you're trying to win the game, you got to get Jaleel more minutes here. He was playing well. He was making things happen on both ends of the court, and then he just got sent to the bench. Kyrie Huey got in early, and then we didn't see him again. The substitutions didn't make any sense. Again, so Matthew Cleveland had 36 minutes. That makes sense. Brandon Johnson had 34. And then the next highest minutes on the team was Divine Ukachukwu, who was not playing well at all. The other two guys scored in double figures. And that's a position where we actually have some depth because Jaleel can play point. Austin Schwartz has played point. There were other options there. And again, Jaleel was playing well, and it's frustrating to see that because, again, this was a winnable game. The other thing that this goes back to the Cal game as well is, look, this is an awful, awful, awful defensive team. 82 points to Virginia is just atrocious. Virginia is an awful offensive team, and we're missing some of their key players and still put up 82 points. I mean, that is pretty much as bad as you can get defensively. But the reason that matters is, why are we subbing in defensive lineups? There's no defensive lineup. The other team scores anyway. And this notion that if he puts Divine in there and Jobay in there on defense, they're going to lock people down. They're not. The other team's still going to score. Get your better offensive players on the court. I mean, Jobay has been aggressive this year. Today he was not. He played 21 minutes and took one shot. Like, I don't know what that was. He did not score. He's usually one of our more aggressive players. He didn't look comfortable out there. But our actual starting lineup, which was AJ, Jaleel, Brandon Johnson, Matthew Cleveland, and Jobay, did pretty well. We did have to get Lincoln in there because, again, killed on the boards. He did make somewhat of an impact. He does impact the defensive rotations negatively, though. But, when you start looking at the statistics here, I mean, Matthew Cleveland and Brandon Johnson were evens. Jaleel was -2. Kyrie Huey is -1. Stat McCray -3. And then Jobay had a -12. Blackman -11. Austin Schwartz -12. Divine -5. I mean, there's nothing great there, but the fact that Matthew Cleveland played 36 minutes and was even, Brandon Johnson played 34 minutes and was even, and you lose the game by 11, you got to look at the other three guys you have on the court with them, and it was not Jaleel for a lot of that. Jaleel was only -2. And it was not Staten McCray. He was -3. And those are your starters. So what are we doing here? Why are you starting guys and then just benching them? Jaleel did not deserve to be benched today, and it hurt the team. The substitution patterns hurt the team. And, this is a program that has now, again, almost gone a full year without winning a Power 4 game. And this was an opportunity, and it was a blown opportunity, and it was blown partially. Look, not a good team, can't get stops. All of that is inherent at this point. And so it is going to be very hard to win a game. I mean, we have to go look at the Virginia Tech game where you're on the precipice there. Need one stop to win it. You foul a guy on a layup, and he makes a 3-point play, and you lose by 1. I mean, that's what this team is defensively. So any game is going to be hard to win. You can't also have your hands tied behind your back from a coaching standpoint. This game was not was not well coached at all. I mean, at the end sequence there was 4 minutes left. The Canes were kind of still in the game. He subbed in Staten McRae for a defensive possession. Again, this is a team that is not good defensively. So, needless to say, Virginia just went down and scored. Then the ball went out of bounds. He could sub in Devine as an offensive sub. Devine had not made a basket in this game. So, I don't know what that was. That was subbing in a player that's very limited offensively, that shoots 14% from three for an offensive possession. So, and, again, Virginia did the game on a 6-0 run to kind of put the game away there, but it was kind of already over. But it's hard to see this team winning when, the coaches are coaching suboptimally. It's going to take a lot of things coming together to win a game. And we actually saw this against Cal as well. The overtime game was a situation where he kept doing offensive defensive substitutions. The Canes did not get a stop in that game. Matthew Cleveland hit a 3 to put them up 72-70 with 2:44 left in regulation. Cal scored on every single possession the rest of the game. That's 7 minutes and 44 seconds. And the coach kept subbing in guys for defense. And then invariably, they did have to play offense because this is not football. You can't sub after every play. And then the offense wouldn't score. It's like you're losing the game by yourself here. Just leave the better players out there. It's just not complicated. Like at this point, Jaleel Bethea has really come into his own. He needs the minutes. Devine actually started higher. He's starting to sink down. Teams have adjusted to what he does, which is really a lot of put your head down, force it to the basket. He got blocked at the rim multiple times this game because UVA was waiting for him. Again, he only shoots 14% from three. He's very limited there, and he's a good on-the-ball defender. He is not a good off-the-ball defender right now, but no one is on this team. It's not just him. I don't want to make this into a bag on Devine thing. It's just his minutes and his performance are not aligned. 28 minutes with the way he was playing is an insane thing to do. He had the third most minutes on the team. And we probably should have gotten 15 to 20 with those minutes instead going to Jaleel, and you might have had a different outcome in this game. And it's not because Devine is bad, it's because Jaleel was playing well. And it's really frustrating to see that, because how do you overcome that? It's just, they're not going to, essentially. So it's, there's a handful of games left. Josh, I see your comment on the Notre Dame game. Yeah, we do have a chance. It's one of those. Honestly, at this point, what I would start is Jaleel, Austin Schwartz, Cleveland, Johnson, and Kidd. I'm on the fence on Kidd because I think he really hurts us defensively. Just because we don't play good team defense. And he's not a great help defender, and he gets caught up on screens and under the basket, and it opens up three-point shooting, which we're obviously terrible at defending the three, so I understand his limitations there. But we saw that today with UVA, just killing us on the boards when he wasn't in the game, so I think you need him in there. The other thing, when we played those smaller lineups, we were able to switch on a lot of the action outside, and that worked for a bit until, again, UVA started running off of multiple screens and or getting second chance points. So I would go with Jaleel, Austin Schwartz, Matthew Cleveland, Brandon Johnson, and Lynn Kidd. I have no idea what he's going to do, and frankly, it might not matter because, again, Jaleel started this game and had two stints. He played a stint in the first half and a stint in the second half, but only totaled 14 minutes and got the bench. Devine came off the bench and got 28 minutes. So, I mean, it's hard to say, but those are the five I would start just because that's your – I mean, my at this point, I've given up on defense. You're not going to get stopped. If you're giving up 90-something, high 90s points to Cal, over 100 to SMU, Stanford, I believe, scored in the 80s. Virginia scoring in the 80s is like a normal team scoring 100 points. You're not going to stop. You're not going to play defense that's going to win you a game. So I just put the best offensive players out there for as long as I can. And to me, that's those five. And hopefully they score enough points for you to essentially outscore the other team, which almost did at Cal. And that's how they're going to win a game. If they're going to win a game, which is certainly questionable at this point. Yeah, but that's what I would go with. I don't know what he's going to do. My guess is Devine will probably start the next game because whatever he saw something that no one else in the building saw, and to keep playing him like that until he fouled out. That was kind of the insult to injury. He fouls out with 15 seconds left, and then Jaleel comes back in the game, gets his 15 seconds there. He went out of the game with 11 minutes and 53 seconds left. Comes back in with 15 seconds and the game over. So that's not great. In terms of just how the game unfolded and in the minutes distribution. I mean, none of it makes any sense. It hasn't, to be fair, it didn't really make sense when Coach L was still here. It's really gone even further downhill, and it's an element of over coaching. Oh, maybe this guy can do this. I do think we're trying to look. What we have is a limited basketball team that is if it's not the worst P4 team in the country, it is certainly one of them. It probably is the worst. So it's not like we're sitting there with like, oh, if he does this, it'll definitely work. But I do think he's trying to think of reasons. Oh, what can this guy do? What can that guy do? And I think it's hurting the team from the standpoint of like I mentioned, we don't have good defenders. No one on this team is a good defender individually. Certainly no one on this team is good team defense. And so when he starts tinkering with the lineup, say, oh, well, this is my defensive lineup. There is no such thing. It doesn't matter what combination of 5 players he puts out there. The other team is going to be efficient and score a lot of points. And so if that's the case, you should not be doing offense-defense substitutions. You should not be, forcing guys into the lineup to play defense, and he keeps doing that. So, that's the thing that's kind of frustrating. I mean, I spent the last 11:53 looking at the bench expecting Jaleel to get up and come in, and it never happened. And actually it did happen with 15 seconds left after Divine fouled out. And, that's not acceptable from the coaching to you always say you want to die with your boots on. The Canes didn't do that tonight. And again, this is one of the handful of opportunities. Handful might be exaggerated. They have to win a game. And I will say I will not be at the Notre Dame game on Saturday. I have an early morning on Sunday, and so I guess maybe Melissa will man the account. We'll see who mans the Buckets account. Maybe they'll win when I'm not able to go. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm the problem here. So we'll see. I think everyone in this program is everyone associated with the program, all the fans just want to see them win a game, right? I mean, we know they're not going to make the ACC tournament. We just want to see them win a single game because it's been a year since they've had a P4 win. And tonight was an opportunity, and it's frustrating when things are going well. You come out well out of the gate. UVA struggled to score. You're actually playing good defense, and then Josh put in the chat you're like, are Kyrie and Lid on the court together? Like what? And it worked exactly how you'd expect it to work. Yeah, I know. I saw that and I was like, there's no way I can do that with an early morning on a Sunday. So unfortunately, I might wake up Sunday and see that. Well, hopefully I'll wake up and see, hey, they actually won a game. Maybe it was me. But I mean, the coaching has to get much better too. I do think I will say this, since the SMU game, I would say this even applies to the Stanford game. The team has tried. They quit against SMU. I don't think they've quit the last 3 games. And that is, good on Bill Courtney for getting the team to continue to play hard when they kind of don't really, have anything to play for other than avoiding an 0-4 ACC season. So definitely credit to him for that. But, he's got to coach better. The substitutions have to actually make sense. It's not, I jokingly said earlier in the year when we thought we still had a team here, like a season to play for, that this is a make-a-wish. You can't just put kids out there to put them out there. There has to be coherence, and people have to earn playing time. And right now, it does not appear that the way the games are unfolding in the minutes distribution is correlated to who's playing well. And it could literally be someone different every night. So I get, certainly in the early phases of the game, rotating heavily, seeing who might be playing well versus not, because no one's consistent on this team. All of a sudden, Brandon Johnson's making 3-pointers, right? After he couldn't early. So I get that. Like, hey, let's see who's got this game. Maybe in the next game, Divine should get 28 minutes because maybe he'll play well, right? And so I get kind of rotating some guys in early to see who's playing well, who's not on any given day. Because other than Matthew Cleveland, you don't know who's going to show up. Matthew Cleveland needs to play a lot. Everyone else is subject to benching, to be honest. And that's fine. Because that's, again, not a good team. You're going to get inconsistencies, but it doesn't appear that even within a game, if someone's playing well, that means they're going to keep playing. If a lineup's working, that means we're going to keep seeing that lineup. And frankly, it's hard to trust anyone that would put Lynn Kidd and Kyrie Huey on the court together. Just mind-boggling. I mean, don't give him any ideas because he could combo those two and get all three freshmen and Kyrie and Lynn. Oh boy. With that said, let's take a look at the schedule here and see if we can find a win. As Josh said, Saturday might be one of the opportunities to do so. Here's what is left for our Canes, and again, they're definitely not making the ACC tournament. So this is it. Notre Dame is an opportunity. At Louis, it's hard to see them winning a road game, period. So you feel like all these road games are losses. So you're really looking at Notre Dame, maybe Syracuse at home. Virginia Tech is a team that they played obviously down to the wire at Blacksburg. Maybe that's an opportunity. That's probably it. Maybe 2.5 chances, I guess. I mean, Syracuse is a tougher game, but potentially could, at home there. And that's kind of it. I mean, they're not going to beat Duke, obviously. Florida State kill them in Miami. It's hard to see them winning there. At Pitt's a good team. That's probably not happening. At North Carolina, at Georgia Tech, NC State at home. This is. I mean, we're running out of chances here. And yeah, maybe Saturday. You're right, Josh. Maybe Saturday Notre Dame is the best chance to win because it is rough. It is rough here. It's hard to see a win. How's it going, CCH? We do have, I didn't announce this yet. I'll do it right now. In honor of CCH's presence here, Saturday, February 8th, from the Hurricanes team store, 11 a.m., we'll have Canes on Deck, our season preview for Canes baseball. So if you're in the Coral Gables area, feel free to stop by and say hello. If you want to just do the show in person, we might have some players show up as well. We got a couple of potentials lined up, but Jazz Santana will be there for Canes on Deck at the Miami Hurricanes team store, 11 a.m., February 8th, Saturday in person. I agree. I think VT at home is probably the best shot. Given, they should have won that game there. I think the problem is, I mean, again, it's a team that does not play defense. Lost to Virginia Tech by 1, but it was 86-85. So it's not exactly. I mean, if you're looking at these results, the last time the Canes allowed less than 80 points was Boston College, where they allowed 78. I mean, that's just not gonna. It's just. I mean, they're gonna have to be on fire. It's gonna take playing Jaleel and Austin Schwartz and having them both scoring, kind of like what happened at Cal, where you start getting you got that bump from Joe Bay, got that Matthew Cleveland did Matthew Cleveland things, and then Brandon Johnson played well, and then you got the bump from Jaleel and the bump from Joe Bay. That's what's going to take to get to 90 points. I think you're going to need to score at least 90 to win a game. The way this team defends. Oh yeah, no, we talked about this earlier. CCH, the giving up 82 points to Virginia is like giving up. It's as bad as giving up 117 to SMU. It was atrocious defense, and that's just what the team is. They don't play defense. They're not capable, and so that's why to win a game they're going to have to get to 90. I do think Virginia Tech's a chance. Notre Dame's a chance. That might be it. Potentially Syracuse at home. It's a Tuesday. Maybe they sneak up on them a little bit. But it's these are all teams that have won games, and the Canes haven't, and it's just hard to see even in a close game like Cal. It starts getting down to the end, and it's hard to see the Canes finishing and closing teams out and playing the defense and getting the stops. Because again, they had that chance against Virginia Tech and didn't get the stop. But just for context, actually, North Carolina State's 2-7, so maybe that last game is an opportunity. But the Canes have already. Boston College is 1-8 in conference. We all know what their one win was. So it's just they certainly shouldn't. I know a lot of money, like CCA said, came in on the Canes. That was due to some injuries for Virginia. Like they put 82 up without one of their best players, starting point guard. So, yeah, one of those seasons. So those are, I guess, NC State's also winnable. So Notre Dame, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, NC State. Potentially. I mean, I don't know. I would not put money on the Canes to beat anyone just because they can't play defense. And at the end of the games, when you need to get a stop, there's no way anyone has any reasonable expectation they'll do that. But, those are some chances if they can get, like, again, if they'd scored a little bit better here, they would have had a better chance. But what happened with Virginia Tech, getting open threes and making them repeatedly, that's just the way the Canes play defense. Yeah, no, that's the move. We can't play defense. And in a way, it's worse but this is the thing, right? So it's in a way worse when you're playing a team like Virginia because they can defend. So it holds your offense down. Everyone can score on us. Like this sounds stupid, but it's actually true. The most points any team can get on a single possession is 4 if you foul a 3-point shooter, which they did multiple times against Cal, but 3. So they're not going to get more than. So even if you're playing a good offense or a bad offense, if they're scoring pretty much every time down anyway, it actually doesn't matter. So teams with worse defenses are where the Canes can actually score too and stay in the game. So that's probably what to look at. Who's got a bad defense that the Canes are playing? Those might be better matchups because then you can keep up. Because if a team is playing well defensively and they're going to score offensively, whether they're good offensively or not. So, if you can get into a Cal type game with a shootout, but it felt like, Cal and Virginia were two opportunities that kind of slipped away. Virginia Tech, I mean. Today, I felt like the coaches kind of blew the game and gave it away. But anyway, so I mean, look, the goals for the season have diminished to the point now. Where, yeah, exactly, CCH. So in that sense, it makes it harder because now you're having to keep up with them because everyone scores on the Canes. So they're going to get 80-plus points, and then you got to match. That's easier to match that against a bad defense. But, again, season goals have changed over time at this point, not technically eliminated from the ACC tournament, but obviously not going to make it. 4-17 overall, 0-10 in conference. That's 20 straight conference losses. So I'd even say that. 23 straight P4 losses. And look, the goal is simple. Can they win a game? I would say probably not, to be honest. But, that's the goal for the season is to just win another game. Yeah, Brandon Johnson's making threes. Matthew Cleveland is playing at a very high level. And, they put Jaleel Bethia back in the game. He's starting to play really well. Unfortunately, he gets benched so that they can put a 14% three-point shooter in at point guard and play him 28 minutes, and he makes one basket the entire time, and it's in garbage time with less than a minute left. But I'm not mad or anything. So, again, the Canes will be back on the court on Saturday, 8 p.m. at the Watt, hosting Notre Dame. It's one of the potential, on paper that they can hang in the game on. Real quick before I get out of here, shout out to both my co-hosts, Matt and Melissa. Melissa's under the weather. Matt is coaching out in California right now. Good luck to the Fountain Valley boys team. Won a couple of huge games, including a massive comeback last weekend, and are now looking like they're going to be in the playoffs. So shout out to Matt for that. Before we leave, just quick check-in on the women. They're at the Watt tomorrow at 7 p.m. against Virginia. So, yeah, we're on repeat. I'll be out there at the Watt to take that game in. And we'll take a quick look at the standings. The women have clawed their way out of the of the missing the ACC tournament zone, and this is another chance to win a game. And yeah, CCH is absolutely right. They need to win this. Virginia's sitting there at 3-6. The Canes are at 2-7. A win here will not only pull them even with Virginia, but they'll have the tiebreaker. And after this, the schedule gets really, really hard. They host Georgia Tech on Sunday. That's another game I'm going to miss, unfortunately. Ranked Georgia Tech at home. And you look at the rest of the schedule, it's really difficult with a couple of games exception. This is one of those games. And so as we look at the standings here, again, the bottom three don't make the ACC tournament. Right now, they're in a three-way tie with SMU and Syracuse. Syracuse does have the tiebreaker on the Canes. SMU lost to the Canes. Obviously, the Canes have the three-way tiebreaker. So that's why they're up there. But Syracuse right now wouldn't make it. That's a three-way tie. So certainly not safe in any capacity. So you're looking at these standings. They got to finish top 15. And then if you start looking into the schedule here, so just pull this up real quick, you're going to see Virginia, again, this is a must-win for this team tomorrow. It's a winnable game. It's a team that's 3-6 in conference. The Canes are 2-7. So it's when you really feel they got to win. And then it's ranked team. So, look, the women are certainly competitive where the men aren't in a lot of these situations. It's certainly possible they steal one of those games. But, we can't expect it. So you kind of got to win Virginia, get that third win, beat Wake Forest for the fourth win. Stanford is also struggling. That's though. That's going to be tough. It's a 10 p.m. Miami time tip. It's obviously on California. It's a 7 p.m. local. That might be challenging. But if you get Virginia and you get Wake Forest to get to 4 wins and steal one of those ranked games, maybe Stanford or then you can get to that 5 wins, and that should be good. So losing to Virginia makes it extremely difficult. So that is a huge game tomorrow at the Watt. It's a winnable one, as CC said. They need to win. I'll be out there covering for Buckets. And maybe I'll do a quick hitter from the actual arena. They hang around for 10 minutes after the game to meet and greet with people. So that'll give me a little bit of time in arena. So maybe I'll hop on, do a quick recap and before I get out of the arena tomorrow night. But again, tonight's news, Canes lose 82-71 to Virginia, fall to 0-10 in the conference. These numbers are it's hard to even say these with a straight face. 0-10 the conference, 4-17 overall. That's 23 straight P4 losses for the Canes basketball team. The women take the court tomorrow, looking to string together a winning streak, get their second consecutive win. Again, maybe I'll have a little bit of a recap from the arena tomorrow. If not, we'll talk to y'all next week with a full, hopefully, panel of Buckets hosts, and not just me. But in honor of Matt and Melissa, it is my honor to say, cue the Sox outro.
Don't cry.
We get buckets.
Keep it chill.
Yeah, baby.
Wear good socks.
Buckets.